What's going on? It's Thomas DeLauer with SixPackAbs.com. I'm the creator of the science-based six-pack intermittent fasting program, which is the world's leading intermittent fasting program, down below in the description. Today, I want to talk about the best and the worst fruits that are helping you or keeping you from getting six-pack abs. So let's talk a little bit about it. First, I have to help you understand the science of fructose metabolism. Fructose is the sugar that is in fruit. And here's the thing, guys, it doesn't metabolize the same way that traditional glucose or traditional sugar does. You see, when we consume regular carbohydrates, all the cells in our bodies can utilize that as a fuel source. However, with fructose, the sugar that comes from fruit, the only organ in the body that can utilize it is the liver. That means our muscles and all our other cells can't use fruit as an energy source. It doesn't mean that fruit is bad. It just means that we need to be very particular with the kinds of fruit that we consume. So I'm going to give you fruits that are good, fruits that are kind of neutral, and then fruits that you should avoid. First and foremost, the first one on the list is avocado. And you might not be thinking that that's much of a fruit, but the reality is it is a fruit. And 1 cup of avocado has only 1 gram of fructose, albeit it does have 235 calories in an entire cup of avocado, but it's worth it when you factor in all the different antioxidant properties that you get from it as well. And when we're talking about the actual efficacy of fruit in terms of how the fructose is utilized, avocado is going to be the go-to. Next up is going to be cranberries. Now here's the thing, guys. Cranberries are not what you think. They're not just those dried, sweetened cranberries that you see in the bulk bins or you get at the grocery store all the time. Cranberries are actually a little bit bitter, and they're harder to find than the dried ones are. But if you cook them up and you add a little bit of stevia to them, they taste just as good, if not better. And the thing is, cranberries contain a lot of other components. Not only are there only 4 grams of fructose in an entire cup of cranberries, but they also contain something known as anthocyanidins. These anthocyanidins are very, very powerful when it comes down to getting rid of bacteria in your body. So not only is it good to get rid of the bad bacteria in your gut, it's also very powerful at getting rid of bad bacteria that compiles in your urinary tract and in your bladder. Maybe you've heard of people drinking cranberry juice when they have a UTI or a kidney infection. Well, that's the reason why. Here's the thing. Most people end up drinking cranberry juice that has a ton of sugar in it, and what ends up happening is that sugar triggers inflammation and also ferments and feeds the bacteria. So you're ending up not really getting anywhere special. You're better off to take good old-fashioned cranberries and sweeten them yourselves with a sweetener that doesn't have a high glycemic load. Okay, the next fruit that we want to talk about is lemons. And I know you're wondering, what the heck, man? You're giving me these fruits that aren't tasty fruits. They're things that I don't even think of as fruits to begin with. But the fact is, lemons are a fruit, and lemons contain a very unique kind of fiber known as pectin. You see, what pectin does is pectin breaks down and moves fats through the body. So if you have undigested fats in the digestive system, then pectin is going to help move those through, meaning any excess fats that would ordinarily get stored as a triglyceride or stored as fat end up getting expedited through the body. But lemons also do something else. They stimulate the actual gallbladder to create and secrete more bile. Bile breaks down fats. You see, bile salts, which are in bile, literally break down, emulsify fats, help that process out so that the fats can be utilized and not just stored and undigested. So this literally helps you utilize and potentially burn more fat. That's why lemons are so critical. Okay, now the neutral ground. We've got blueberries and we've got strawberries. Blueberries have a little bit more sugar. They're about 14 grams of fructose for an entire cup, which really isn't too bad, but it's still a fair amount of fructose. But the thing is, they are so powerful when it comes down to specific antioxidants that help out what's called BDNF, helps out your brain. Okay, they have something known as anthocyanins. These anthocyanins can cross through the blood-brain barrier and help your brain literally regenerate. They're such a powerful antioxidant, and normally they can't get through that blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier has a wolf at the door for anything that would normally try to come in the brain. Blueberries, that specific anthocyanin dye, the dark thing that's in the blueberries, whatever actually makes them blue and dark and purple, gets into the brain and helps your brain grow. So then, couple that with the fact that they're not too high glycemic, they don't have a lot of carbs, they're a pretty powerful fruit. Strawberries are kind of in the same boat, okay? Only 7 to 9 grams of carbohydrates by way of fructose for an entire cup. So if you're trying to watch your carb intake, you're trying to stay on low carb diets, then it might be a good idea for you to load up on the strawberries to still get that sweetness you want, but without the fructose load that's ultimately going to turn to fat. Okay, now the fruits you should avoid. Bananas. Don't believe all the hype. Sure, they have some potassium, but not nearly as much as even an avocado has. You see, a whole bunch of bananas is going to have less potassium than generally one good-sized avocado. So don't believe all the hype. You're ended up with 20 grams of sugar for just one medium banana. That's really not worth it. Next up is going to be grapes. Straight up fructose there. And you're looking at a cup, you're looking at close to 20 grams of carbohydrates again from fructose. However, 1 cup of grapes Doesn't have a lot of surface area because grapes are usually good size. So that means that you're eating like maybe 15, 16 grapes and you're having 20 grams of carbohydrates, straight fructose, that your liver can barely metabolize. Last but not least, apples. Guys, apples are just a commodity at this point. They are so genetically modified. They are everywhere. We create them in the masses. So really, we're not getting much from them. They're not very nutrient dense, and they end up having up to 25 grams of fructose in just a single apple. So really, you're not getting much out of them. You're just getting the sugar, and the very little thing that you are going to get out of them is in the skin, which most people don't even like in the first place. So that's the general breakdown. So fructose does not metabolize the way that regular sugar does. And lastly, fructose doesn't trigger a Grehlin response. What that means is it doesn't satisfy, unlike other carbohydrates. You see, sugars can make you hungry, but most carbohydrates will satiate you for a little bit. If you have fructose, it doesn't do any of that. It has no effect on that hormone level. So keep your fruit in moderation, and whenever possible, get it from the right fruits. As always, keep it locked in here on this channel, and if you have ideas for future videos, you can put them in the comment section below, but also make sure you check out my intermittent fasting protocol down below. I will see you soon.